Okay. So, we're going to go Zoom. We're Zooming today for our first time, our first attempt at all this technology. And I can't help myself, although I'm supposed to not start yet, to thank the devotees who worked so hard for weeks trying to get these things together. The Zoom, the big screen, the TV we're going to have for online eventually, and really the 21st century. All the devotees here, that was only Prabhu and for us, especially more to Prabhu, but there were wheels and rolling motion. I was amazed that somehow or other I'm the first one to do it. So this is kind of like target practice, It's not really the real thing. I'm just going to speak here as well as I can. What Prabhupada said to us was, speak according to your level of realization. And he wanted everyone to get past. Maybe not Sunday lectures if you're not still youthful in Krishna consciousness, but to learn how to speak and how to express your own heart and your realizations that come through service. It's just so important to express it and be reciprocal with the community so we can all know what he's doing. But like I said, isn't this beautiful? Look at this. This is for the swing ceremony. Coming up in a couple of weeks. The next weekend, next Sunday, we'll be bathing Lord Jagannath. Is that correct? Somebody help me out here. So you must come to that, bathing Lord Jagannath, and many preparations and beautiful yogurt, nectar drinks, and colorful and wonderful, auspicious mercy of Lord Jagannath. I don't know exactly who put this together, but usually it's the pujaris and folks who just come in and help, like Dr. Jim, who has an amazing hand-carved set of Lord Jagannath in his in his van that he has done. He's very attached to Lord Jagannath. So all these devotees who have come in and helped in this thanks, and we're so grateful because we have a small group for a very big temple, very big building, and the more anyone can come and encourage us with words or sweep the floor, or I have one little tiny example, but it's so big in Prabhupada. Gurudas told me this, that they were on a walk, and all the devotees were walking around Prabhupada, and there was a piece of paper, like some little trash on the ground. And where Prabhupada was walking, he noticed with peripheral vision, he saw everyone stepped over the piece of trash, and the Buddha picked it up and Prabhupada said, yes, it must be considered a lazy man if he steps over some trash that's there in the path. So any little thing is so noted by the pure devotees, and what we do to try to clean up the Mother Earth and to make her a safe and sacred place. We've done so much change. So we should take shelter of Mother Earth in that way. I have a rather innovative class. I hope you all enjoy it. It should be a lot of fun. I think also everyone who comes and cleans and who cooks prasadam, the chef, and the kirtaniyas, Jamunjivan, and Chiriya, and Jayantai, all the great devotees who give their hearts. You can hear in the mood and the sound of their kirtan. So join in enthusiastically and lift up the kirtan. Om Yana Chandran Chakurum Militam Tasmai Shri Savitam Jayabhutre Swayambhupa Gramaya Vandeham Sridhutta Bhagavan Sridharum Vaishnavam Srirupam Savajatam Saharanam Sajivam Sarvaitam Sarvitam Parijana Savitam Devam Shira Krishna Katha Savana Lalita Hey Krishna Krishna Dinavan Hey Gopishato Shri Kanchanagorangi Radhe Vrindavani Shri Rishabhanu Sudite Mami Kariye Panchakala Rupyascha Vivasindhu Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vedanta Sri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vedanta Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vedanta Shiva Sutra Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama through the material coverings into the spiritual world so the Lord can hear us crying out like a child cries out for mother. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Thank you. Srila Prabhupada is describing the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, described that it's like a child calling out to his mother. And there's nothing else like that love. In the material world, obviously the closest thing to the love is a mother's love. So cry out. And pursue those material covenants that are in our own heart, keeping us strong, doing what's good and righteous and pure and clean. And when those coverings are off, through the chanting the Mama Mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Pure spirit soul ourselves is revealed when the layers of coverings being dispersed and put to the side. And Prabhupada described to a great artist in her movement that when she asked, how do I paint the spirit soul inside the heart? And Prabhupada said, like a shining white star. So we can think of people now, we have different bodies, different colors, different ages, different sizes. There's one little body here that's only 1 month old, 30 days, tiny little, still here. But anyway, all the way up to ancient. And in these bodies, we're contained. Sometimes we bounce, we, knock off of each other because of karma or because of, some agenda we have or some garbage in our heads, and we can't quite work with each other. But Vaisheshika Maharaj gave a wonderful example once that I really liked. They were all like, you know how rocks are that have sharp edges? Maybe they're crystals or garnets or semi-precious stones. But when they're first out of the earth, like diamonds, they're the tumbler, the rock tumbler, which is what we're in this world. If we use our Krishna consciousness with in that tumbler with sound vibration and with the natural interactions between devotees, loving interactions, then we'll knock off gradually those sharp edges. They might not feel good as it's happening, but become smoother and more shining like the sun. like a white stone, or whatever color it may be in the rainbow state. So I want to thank all of everybody who come in. If we are able to go through this meeting, that works out for us. I'm very excited. It's good. Okay, so when I was first becoming a devotee, I do want to tell you how I got to San Francisco because it was like a magnet. I didn't know Prabhupada was here, but my heart really was here. So I lived in Southern Illinois, near the Kentucky line, way more south in the country. And I became vegetarian because something in me told me I could not any longer eat animals. You know, it's a strange thing to think, look at these beautiful flying in the sky. Oh, I'd like to eat that. No, it's a strange thing, isn't it? So I got that from internally in Southern Baptist upbringing. Vegetarianism wasn't the call. And I hitchhiked out here to San Francisco with $64 and a little dog. And I went straight to Ashbury, and I moved into a commune of Illinois hippies who were 1.5 blocks from the original San Francisco Temple on Frederick Street. And just that vibration in going to Golden Gate Park, which is across the street, brought me eventually to the Bhagavad Gita and to Sri Prabhupada's Lotus feet. So back when I first became a devotee, we immediately went on book distribution, no doubt about it, that was it. If you had the knack to talk too much, it was good to be out of the sanctum. So that's why it was the heavens. And we would be so excited to go out when the Chaitanya Charitamritas were just coming out. Look at this book. There are 17 volumes of these in the original, and there are really sized, compact, sweet 9 volumes now in the more compact. And we would take these volumes as they came out, one at a time. Adi Lila Volume 1, that didn't come out first. Adi Lila Volume 2 came out first. You see Lord Chaitanya dancing? Expresses how Lord Chaitanya was the gardener and how he distributed all the fruits that we had. So when we would go on Sankirtan, we would read from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And honestly, my god sisters were so pure in their book distribution and their hearing and chanting, and we were all young, and we were at Prabhupada's feet. It was about 1974, 5 era. We had the CC ID 2. Prabhupada came out in 75 with the rest of the editions. And we would take them on Sankirtan and read from them. And the devotees would be so ecstatic that we'd laugh. We would laugh during the Bengali, stumbling through, and then hearing the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. We were in ecstasy all the way to the airport or Fisherman's Wharf or wherever we were being. This the Chaitanya Charitamrita that carried us into that kind of ecstasy that was much beyond our normal trek on the path of spiritual life. We were just, and still are, very small devotees. But through hearing Chaitanya Charitamrita and the pastimes of Gauranga Mahaprabhu and the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu and how the most fallen, and that is me. Although not the most anything. But still, most fallen, I'm in at least that category. So Nityananda was who we would pray to, was who we would sing about, and the Panchav Tattva was so important. And so I'm going to read some of that ecstasy that we experienced and see if you catch on to that feeling. I'm sure you will, because these are the words of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Namo Mahavaranaya, Krishna Prema Padayate,
Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurashe Namaha. All right. And please forgive me, my Bengali, not good. Se pancha tattva mili prithvi isha asya purva prema pattariya mudra ugadiya panche mile lute prema lure ashvadruma yata yata piye tishna badhe anshana. Even if you do it badly, it's sweet, isn't it? Prophet's so kind to give us these books. He stopped the translation of the Srimad Bhagavatam in about 5th canto or so, and he gave us the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita. We were requesting it with our hearts, and some had openly requested Prabhupada translate, and so he said, yes, it must be done. And it increased our book distribution 1,000,000-fold. Vaisheshika Maharaj will swear to that, I'm sure. How much it increased our understanding of the movement and the purpose of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The characteristics of Krishna are understood to be a storehouse of transcendental love. Although that storehouse of love certainly came with Krishna when he was present, it was sealed. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with his other associates of the Panchatattva, they broke the seal and plundered the storehouse to taste transcendental love of Krishna. The more they tasted it, the more their thirst for it grew. It's a fact. The more you taste the sweetness, the more your taste for it will grow. In fact, sometimes if you want material taste, you have to put these books far away. Oh, I'm going to go have some ice cream or see a movie. You have to put the books far away because they'll be grabbing at you to taste this kind of nectar rather than maybe the more social nectar out there or mundane nectar. What Prabhupada said was chewing the chewed. Like, if you chew sugarcane, you can chew and you get sweet and it becomes very sweet nectar. It's very nice. But after so long a time of chewing that sugarcane, it becomes just like bamboo stick and there's no more sweetness in it. Not so with Chaitanya Charitamrita, I guarantee you. The sweetness just keeps on flowing, keeps on multiplying, and you'll find you're going to have to share it with somebody else. That's it. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is called Mahavaranai because although he is Sri himself, he is even more favorably disposed to the poor fallen souls than Lord Krishna. When Lord Sri Krishna himself was personally present, he demanded that everyone surrender unto him and promised then that he would give one all protection. But when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this earth with his associates, the Panchatattva, he simply distributed transcendental love of God without discrimination. And that was the ingredient of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that proved that he was Krishna himself, because only he could give love of God freely with no discrimination, no judgment. Jagai Madhai, Ganishta Dasi, doesn't matter. He's going to give love of God if we follow his program. It's guaranteed and it's indiscriminate. Age, color, gender, nothing matters but the holy name. Let it enter your heart, fill you up, and then you'll be able to share it. It's bound to happen. Sri Panchatattva themselves danced again and again, and thus made it easier to drink nectarian love of Godhead. They danced, cried, laughed, and chanted like madmen. And in this way, they distributed love of Godhead. That reminds me of Sham, as he must be working in the kitchen. Shama Sundar, our devotee here who was born in Vrindavan. Jai Jagannath. Jai Radha Gokulananda Shishi Gauranitai Ki. Jai. He was born in Vrindavan. He dances so beautifully. It's just a wonder to see him come in and dance. And he's working all the time, but sometimes he'll just come through and dance. Very nice. It reminds me of the devotees in our movement who dance so beautifully like angels, like their feet aren't even touching the floor. In distribution of Godhead, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates did not consider who was a fit candidate and who was not. nor where such distribution should or should not take place. Take note of that, because how much time do I have? Yeah, we're going to take a little meditation, a little journey over to San Francisco and the Holy Parikram Dham. And I want you to keep in mind that Lord Chaitanya did not discriminate or consider who was a fit candidate and who was not, or where such distribution should or should not take place. They made no conditions. Whenever they got the opportunity, the members of the Panchatattva distributed love of Godhead. Although the members of the Panchatattva plundered the storehouse of love of Godhead and ate and distributed its contents, there was no scarcity. For this wonderful storehouse is so complete that as the love is distributed, the supply increases hundreds of times. I want to introduce at this time a friend of mine that has been coming frequently, I think, to different temples. This is Andrew Schul, a great soul. He's an ordained deacon at the Episcopalian Church here in Berkeley. He's a member of serving the Graduate Theological Union by working with the students and guiding them through their schooling. Is that pretty good? And the humility that emanates from him is self-evident. And it's very sweet to be around him. It's a great spiritual soul who does a lot of bridging in different with different religious organizations. Am I right on that, Andrew? Could you maybe stand so they can see your beautiful face? And I'm sorry to embarrass you, but thank you. It's so nice. And he's good. We have another professor from Graduate Theological Union Berkeley, who's not present here today because she had a cold, not COVID, but wasn't feeling up to par along with her son. And so she didn't make it today. Hopefully she's Zooming with us. Her name is Dr. Catherine Baruch. She's a member of the Graduate Theological Union and does pilgrimages, holy pilgrimages on site all over the world. And she's working on her fourth book, I believe, on holy pilgrimages. Like the saint, she just came back from Europe a few months ago and is doing the Saint Teresa of Avila in Spain, Saint Francis of Assisi. I don't know so much about Catholic saints, but I admire them and I've read some extensively and I very much appreciate the teachings. So similar to our Vaishnava teachings. In fact, they are Vaishnava teachings. And so along with these holy pilgrimages and ancient sites, there are new pilgrimages that folks are doing for healing purposes, for a lot of different ways to connect with the earth. Hare Krishna Mahesh. So good to see you. Is your family with you? Hare. And the sons. These devotees are so sweet. I had two little Chota Nitai, Gaur Nitai, and I have too many deities. My friends and my god sisters and others give me their deities. And so I have too many. And I was thinking, I can't worship my deities sufficiently. I don't, in any capacity, I'm not a Brahmin. So when Mahesh came, he told me about his sons and his wife in India, waiting to come to America. And I said, please take these Chota Nitai to your sons. And you will not believe how beautiful they worship them, extraordinarily. And they're just this tall. So thank you for coming. I'm so happy to see you. It's nice to meet you, Prabhu. Jai, very nice to meet you. You have a lovely family. This is a very warm and special temple. Historically, it goes so deep. Prabhupada actually told us, and Madonna Prabhu, the angel, who she tells me on a weekly or monthly basis that Prabhupada said, that San Francisco would be the first completely Krishna conscious city in the Western Hemisphere. Huh? So we got to work on that. That's up to us, isn't it? We keep those wheels turning, right? Uh, there's always stories that add to the dimensions of Prabhupada's mercy in blessing us in that way. Because if it was Laguna Beach, it'll be Laguna Beach along with San Francisco, along with LA and everywhere else that he may have said it. So I appreciate your input on that, Prabhu. Prabhupada, a funny thing about Prabhupada, he would make jokes because we were always getting ready. Oh, Prabhupada is coming. Prabhupada is coming. We have to paint the stairs, or we have to paint this new, this wall. Fresh paint was always very important. So when Prabhupada came to one particular temple, and I can't remember where this pastime took place, but he turned to the devotees and he said, "Everywhere I go, it smells like fresh paint." A sign of our devotion and a sign of Prabhupada's encouragement for us. Let's see how much time. Okay, good. I'm switching over now. I don't think I told you what chapter I was on there. It was chapter 7 of verse 26 and 7 through 8. And now I'm going to Adi Lila chapter 9, and it's verse, I believe, 44. I don't see so well. So, Mule Manusha Amara Nahira Jadan Palapula Diyakari Punya Upadan. I am merely a gardener. I have neither a kingdom nor very great riches. I simply have some fruits and flowers that I wish to utilize to achieve piety in my life. So remember, this is the Lord in the form of a devotee, in the mood of a devotee, in the mood of Radharani, coming to teach us how to dance, how to chant, and how to garden. Because we need to garden this earth in a way that's not just productive, but is encouragement of her blessings and an encouragement to all the beings on the planet, whether they be in plant bodies or fish bodies or human bodies. When Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada's guru, he once said, "Preach to the four walls and they will hear if no one comes." Preach to the four walls. Preach may be a little harsh word in these modern days, but he was saying teach, and probably preaching is not even the appropriate translation, because it has a taint in these days that people are afraid of. But teaching what you know as a pure soul and passing it on to others, whatever you have from the pure souls, passing it. If you're not pure, just pass it through. Best way to do it, give them a book. Prabhupada said one time when the devotees were asking, "What should we say on Sankirtan, Prabhupada?" And he said, "What will your 3-minute preaching do?" Just give them a book. They take it with them. So do you all like meditations? Like, has anyone done any meditations where you close your eyes and you go places to relax and become in tune with Mother Earth, or the Hare Krishna mantra, or different prayers on rosary or other kinds of prayer beads? Namyo Renge Kyo, people pray, they go there, they go to different places. I know almost every day I say a Christian prayer that my mother taught me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. This Vaishnava prayer, so dear. Prabhupada so much respected Lord Jesus and gave him, when a nun came and asked, should I continue what would you think of me? Should I continue my rosary, my austerities in Christian life, or would you want me to change? He said, no. This is God consciousness. Continue what you are doing, because this is coming from the heart. We can't interfere with that path someone takes to get to the heart of the matter. to get to Krishna in the heart, and then eventually, wow, to Vrindavan. So, yeah. So I distribute books. That's what I do. That's really all I know how to do that, and I know how to drive. I have two qualities that are pretty much have been refined over the past 50 years. Because for 20 years, I drove a school bus. And when I got to San Francisco this time around, about 6 years ago, I started driving. And I'm not going to name the name, but I drive a service where I pick up people and then deliver them to other places, wherever they'd like to go. It's like a magical mystery tour. It's a wonderful thing. I have a chariot and nice, beautiful car that an incredible devotee named Kent Putnam put me in a new chariot. And thanks to Vasant Prabhu, who told me that he was praying the whole way to the car plaza to get the new car, that my old car wouldn't fall apart because he could see the concrete through the floorboard and the car was shaking. We only had a few months before my workplace was going to need me to replace that car. And suddenly Kent appeared with a car plaza, and he gave us the royal treatment and got me into a chariot that I can afford so that I can continue my service. And I swear to you, I didn't miss a day, not a day. It was just so perfect. It's such an extraordinary experience, Hare Krishna. And I was praying for my car to be fixed, and it was just draining money. And then I began to pray, please help me stay in my service. Please don't let me lose my service. And my car was my method to my service. When I begin to pray for my service, boom, 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 order of the Lord. So I'm very thankful for that. And now I'd like to kind of take a little journey with y'all if y'all don't care. Have you ever who in this room has distributed books? I know there must be several. Yes. Raise your hands high where I can see. In any capacity, to a friend, to your mother, to your child, any capacity. You've passed on a book, a Bible, a Krishna conscious book, any book, yes? Yeah. When did you, where was that? In what?
I passed a Bhagavad Gita to my sister.
To your sister?
Yes.
Ah, very nice, very nice. So see how it works? It's like you have something that is so dear to you. If it's really dear to you, and we're not hoarders, we're not, what's it called, that Christmas guy, Grinch. We're not the Grinch. We're not trying to hoard money or anything. We're not like that. We have compassionate, open hearts we want to give. When we have the best thing to give, the holy name, we can go out there and give it, sing it, chant it. But when you give them a book, they take it home and put it on the shelf. And then their niece gets it, and their grandpa gets it, and the old guy with the beard takes a look at it, and somebody decides to turn off the television and look at the pictures in the Gita. You know, things happen that we don't see. These seeds are planted and they're growing and they will blossom. And so when they blossom, they have to have a place to come. They have to, I need folks. I need some friends that understand what I'm understanding. I need a camaraderie who can help me on this battlefield of Kurukshetra. You know, Arjuna wasn't alone. And if you read the Gita, Krishna was there. And, you know, we need to find that help. And that comes through human beings, through human contact. So I really encourage, this is I must say, a beautiful gathering of devotees, as it is every Sunday. And there's so much variety here, so much kindness, I feel, and encouragement. So I encourage you to come and to bring a friend, to bring a group, bring more folks from whatever realm they're from, religion or not, you know, whatever color, whatever social capacity, bring everyone in, because we have a common ground. We're birds of a feather. Peacocks have an extraordinary amount of color in their feathers. It looks like it's just one color, but when the sun shines on it, there's rainbows going everywhere and every color is included. And they shake those feathers and make a sound with them. So we're all like peacocks, you know, more or less. We like to strut a little bit, show our feather. But we can do that through being beautiful, dancing peacocks here in the temple and greet people when they come. Enjoy, not unnaturally, but through a natural progression, enjoy the ecstasy of chanting and dancing together, and serve the newcomers. Ask, you would be surprised. You would be surprised what a couple of words will do to folks who are lonely. I only have 5 minutes. Okay, everyone can close their eyes or keep them open. You get in my little car. We've got all fit in my car to go over the Bay Bridge to San Francisco, the Holy Pilgrimage Tour. The reason we can all fit is because we're shining lights of spirit soul. We don't take up any room. We take up no room, so we can all fit in the car together. We're riding, I'm going to drive because I know the way. And we're driving through down Ashby Street on to the freeway. It's horrible. Don't think about it. Look toward the, like Dorothy looked toward the land of Oz. It's kind of like that when you look from the East Bay over towards San Francisco and it's shining. It's like the land of Oz, only it's a spiritual place because it's been so in Prabhupada's presence. We're crossing the Bay Bridge now. It's not going to take too long because I'm going in off traffic times early in the morning, but there's a fog over the top of Twin Peaks. You may not know what that is, but just imagine it in your mind. It's the background, the beauty, the framework of San Francisco. There's the skyline and the Salesforce building, and then there's the Citro Tower. And as we dip down onto 101, headed toward Golden Gate Bridge, if you look toward your right, down on the ground, you can see, because you're spirit souls. You were able to see this if you were just in my car with the human form. You couldn't see because the Bay Bridge covers it. But spirit souls, you can lift up and look down on the Embarcadero. And there's this gigantic sculpture, and it's a bow and arrow. Think of Arjuna. It's a gigantic bow with an arrow stuck in the ground, and the bow is extended. I used to shoot as a child, a youth, and so I know a little bit about shooting the bow and arrow. And it's a beautiful art, beautiful. So someone made this sculpture. I don't know the history. It's quite ornate, and it reminds me of Arjuna. Boom, you left your heart in San Francisco as a message. And that the cherub has shot his arrow into the heart of San Francisco, which is the earth. And really, what the beauty of San Francisco is in that extraordinary lay of the land. So now we're going up and down the hills. Have you ever been up and down the hills of San Francisco? Sometimes you go so high up, you're laid back like a roller coaster. So feel that, like a very slow roller coaster. We're going up and down the hills of San Francisco, down to Market Street. We stop. To our left, there's some homeless on the center divide, right on the freeway at Market and Octavia. Difficult place to stop. You have 12 seconds to give them a book. Take the window down, give them a Gita, Ishopanishad, whatever you like. Tell them Hare Krishna. One has one arm. One has a dog in his hand. They reach for the Ishopanishads. I have to take my foot off the brake and go. That's all the time you had for that soul to get that book. At that stoplight on Market and Octavia. Now roll on over to Fell. We'll get on down the road, make a left on Fell, and we continue up and down the hills of San Francisco. We're headed toward Golden Gate Park. And as we hit about Baker Street, that is the panhandle of Golden Gate Park. That panhandle is so rich with the mercy of the old devotees like Malati and Shyamasundar and Guru Das and Jamuna Devi. Oh my. They used to go there and do kirtan. Way we go toward Kezar. As we go left, there's the Frederick Street Temple. Prabhupada lived up above it. He gave us guidance from there and watched as Malati stole butter from a truck in the front. And he chastised her, but then said, it's all right, Krishna steals butter. So many pastimes, so sweet. One block down the street, Prabhupada lived at Willard. And at Willard Street, there's a beautiful first portrait photo of Srila Prabhupada taken there. I want to show you now. You can open your eyes because this book will help you with the visual for the rest of the way. You see this book? The Swami who rocked the worlds. Everyone must have this in the collection if they live in the Bay Area and you're a Vaishnava or a saintly person. 1/3 of this book is Prabhupada in San Francisco and our Lord Jagannath here. It's right here in front of us. And so you can see these pictures. Here's Prabhupada at Hippie Hill, which is now called at the edge of Robin Williams Meadow. These pictures are extraordinary. And they will take you through the Golden Gate Park. They will take you to Stowe Lake. I can't really show it without it being too awkward. So I would just look. It's by Guru Das. It's his latest photo album. He's really happy with it because it includes 1/3 of San Francisco or so, and then London, George Harrison, John Lennon, everybody's in there. Photos you've never been released before. And it's some of Guru Das's favorites. I have several if you'd like to get one from me. And it's also, you can order on Amazon. It might be a little more expensive, but it's still, however you get this book, please get this book. We are a part of this Bay Area history of Srila Prabhupada. It's rooted in us. Like the redwood trees, we love our redwood trees so much. And they're so comforting to walk through. And Prabhupada went to Muir Woods, He was taken by the devotees to Muir Woods and walked through the big redwood trees. I have an original letter of Prabhupada signed by him where he describes how trees live for thousands of years. But if they only just breathe and don't become conscious, then those 1,000 years are empty. So we have to walk through those. This is not in the letter. The noise is non-different than any other pastime of Lord Chaitanya, except we're peons, but we're carrying the message. And this message will go in, it will enter into the hearts of the trees, the roots of the trees. Redwood trees, they wind their roots around each other. They're shallow. They don't go really deep, though they're 300 feet tall. They're 300 feet tall and so big around. My god sister Shilavati lived in one for 1.5 years with her daughter down on the beach near Big Sur in Salt Town back in the days. She lived inside a tree, a redwood tree. Great artist friend of mine. She's 90-year-old devotee now, lives in New Vrindavan. So as they wind themselves around each other, these big trees, it's actually not even logical that they can stand because they're so tall and they're so thick and they're so heavy. But their roots hold each other up. They're holding each other up. And the entire groves, the Muir Woods, wherever you go, there are little groves throughout Golden Gate Park. Go there and feel the presence of them because they're teaching us through Mother Earth. They're teaching us how to hold each other up and how to encourage each other and not bind each other down or keep each other from getting the nectar, the water, the nourishment. We have to help each other be nourished in that way. I encourage everyone. This temple is so lovely. It has some of the greatest devotees, the hardest working devotees ever that are here. And I very much encourage you to come and help us because we always need help. You can come and ask, just tug, say, stop for a minute. How can I help you? Because sometimes we think we're doing everything ourselves. We're just, but if you come and ask, then sooner or later we'll find something for you to do, probably sooner than later. There's a lot to do. And I get this feedback from a lot of devotees that come that they're really looking forward to doing service, doing seva. There was a devotee here today. Her name is Leica, young woman from ISV area. She had her running outfit on. And when I walked in, I thought, the outfit doesn't go with the sound, beautiful sound of the japa she was chanting. She was sitting right in front of Lord Japa. The japa was beautiful and sweet and innocent. So after I paid obeisance, I came over and I introduced myself. I said, your japa is so nice. And we talked, and she said, I just finished a marathon. She finished a marathon of running and came straight to Lord Jagannath for the mercy, praying all the way. Very strong, healthy, exuberant devotee, and very kind. Youthful too. And we need youth. We're getting old and we have old ways. And sometimes we get cranky and we do the wrong thing and stumble around. So please help us to bring back in that youth and that power of intention that is so compassionate in the youth of today. The youth of today aren't looking at differences. They're looking at trying to put us together. We're more alike than we are different. Even in the Vaishnav tree of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have differences on different branches. So we don't have to be distracted. If we just combine our efforts, we will see that all the Vaishnavas really love the Lord. So what else is there to talk about? Find commonality and chant together the mantras that you love and could share. New prayers are always welcome, just to find out. I saw a picture on your Facebook page of one of the churches, and the members were gathered. Maybe it was a chorus. It was wood, all wood inside. I don't know where that was. It was the most beautiful carved church I've ever seen. I mean, it had beams across the top, all wood, and it reminded me so much of the temple that Shamasundar built in London. I can't remember the name of the street now, but he built it all with redwood. That I don't know how he did it, but it was incredibly. It looked like the inside of a ship. And when I saw that church, it bridged me together with the understanding that yes, when we build a church or a temple or a mosque or a pile of rocks at the side of the river for the Lord, it's the same motive, to get his blessings and to give service to him. Any questions? I've gone too far. Yeah. Please, I ask your forgiveness because I make a lot of offenses in life. I stumble through and get very cranky and disoriented, and I lose my position as somebody should always be at the feet of every single Vaishnava in this temple room. So I ask your forgiveness for stumbling around and offending in any way. We're trying to put on our best Sunday suit, as my mom used to say, to welcome you. And we want to treat you with gentleness, because out there, it's a war, isn't it? Out there, it's a dirty war. On the streets of San Francisco, the things I've seen, subhuman, inhumane, sad, hard, cold. I've seen death. I've seen people get run over. I've seen people with one leg and a little dog in their wheelchair pushing backwards to get the wheelchair across the road before the cars come, and the cars don't care. And I've seen them get hit. I've seen everything in terms of not caring for each other. So when we come here to this place of God, to this shelter, look at the mercy we have. There's nothing to do but dance. And so we welcome you with food, with nice Mahaprasad from mercy and blessings of the Lord. We welcome you with the bhajan, with the kirtan of Jaini Tan, kirtan of Radha Gopal, the kirtan of Hari Basar, and any attempts we can make to inform you, and if you can inform us a little more in the scriptures, especially myself. I'm pretty much an uneducated fool, but even an uneducated fool, as said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, can dance like a madman for Krishna. Questions or anything? Yes. Haribol Prabhu, local Bandhu Guru Das, right? Jai. Your Guru Maharaj is Vaisheshika Maharaj? I'm sorry, Hanumat Prasad. Please forgive me.
Thanks for the wonderful class. Really appreciate it so much, Esther. I hope you'll be giving class again. Is if I wanted to get a copy of that book you were showing me,
Absolutely.
how do I get that?
I've got 5. So you're first to ask, you're first to get one. Okay?
Thank you.
In any, we'll arrange it, however. I don't like to talk about Lakshmi and Saraswati, monetary exchange, but they're a very reasonable price. And also, like I said, you can get them on Amazon if you can't get it today. So. Any input, Andrew, Prabhu? Jaini Thai.
Krishna's avatar, the age of Kali, is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what is Lord Krishna's avatar for the age of Kali is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What is and a lot of Hindus actually are not aware that he is Krishna himself. What is the most significant contribution of this avatar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Well, you opened up the whole first part of the Adi Lila. Adi Lila Volume 1 is giving the reason that Lord Chaitanya came. There are many reasons. The internal reason, of course, is he couldn't taste himself. He could do anything. Krishna can do anything, but he couldn't taste that sweet taste of love that Radharani has for him. Couldn't taste that. He couldn't feel that, understand that. So he had to come as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the mood of Radharani so he could taste the sentiments of Radharani in the body of a bhakta. Extraordinary. Because in the age of Kali, we're confused about our bodies. We don't know what body we have trouble if we're white. We have trouble if we're black. We have trouble if we're this gender or that gender. We have trouble understanding why we're locked in these bodies, held down in a prison. And it causes us so much anxiety sometimes as we go against each other's ideas about how the body should be accommodated. Lord Chaitanya, his reasoning was to knock out all that bodily concept of life with the holy name. And just chant the holy name to your heart's content. And really, like a madman, not care for the judgment of others, not be so philosophically inclined as to be heartfelt inclined. And if you know the philosophy, that's all the better, all the sweeter. So like Lokabandhu, he was saying, give class soon, but I do want to say, did that answer your question to some extent? That it just bringing the holy name and the kirtan, the harinam to the streets, and also in here is the streets more or less because we're bringing you in from the streets. We have people who don't have shelter. We have people who have very wealthy shelter. All ages, all types come here to get the holy name. So it's the streets, of the bay. We're bringing you in because we can't get to all the streets. I can give you an example. On the first Gaur Purnim in San Francisco, I was just reading, Guru Das was telling that Prabhupada told them to fast all day at Frederick Street Temple. Prabhupada was in his quarters at Willard Street, a block and a half away, and one block up. And the devotees were chanting intensely, chanting Mahamantra inside the temple, Jaini Thai, inside the temple. But one of the devotees looked at Guru Das, and he had the eye contact to, let's take this chanting outside. I think that has to be turned off. Is that okay? Can you turn it off? There you go. Thank you. Yeah. So let's see, where was I? So it was Gaur Purnim, first one in San Francisco, which would have been 1967 or 8. I think I'm indecisive about the date, but it is important to be strict with these details. Please forgive me. But one of the devotees looked at Guru Das, and Jayananda was with them, the 2 other devotees. And they said, let's take this outside with their eyes. Let's take this chanting outside to the street. So they were nervous about it. They hadn't done that before, outdoor kirtan. but Gaur Purnim, it was just bursting up in them. They had it. They had this mantra. It was so sweet. Got to take it outside because there were tons of devotees inside. It was packed, but there's more outside. So they went, the four of them, with some kartals and mridanga, and they started kind of hesitantly and then getting more steam and chanting up. They turned left on Frederick, turned right on Stanyan, walked up a block, turned right on Parnassus, and chanting all the way. And that's quite a hill. And they got to Parnassus, chanted 1.5 blocks down, and went to Willard, where Prabhupada was, in his second-story apartment. And they were scared if they were doing the right thing or not. But they ended up right under his window, kind of like, it's almost romantic. It's a beautiful ambiance to thinking of that area and how the devotees were down there hesitantly chanting and Prabhupada is looking. And Prabhupada goes like this, the Indian style, right? Like this. He made this motion. And the devotees looking, they thought, oh, he means for us to leave. He wants us to stop. That in America means kind of stop. So they went like this and they turned around. They started to go back. And Upendra, Prabhupada's personal servant, Upendra, a very special devotee who's passed long ago, but many stories of him. Such a great soul. He ran after the devotees, Jayananda and Gurudas, and I'm sorry, I'm missing the names of the other two. And he said, Prabhupada wants you to come. He meant for you to come up and see him. So then they ran up and they went up the stairs, his second apartment. Prabhupada was in the front room. And he said, yes, Lord Chaitanya has taught you. I'm paraphrasing. He has inspired you. This is what must be done. Chanting on the streets. Chanting on the streets. Every day you should go out with flags, banners, you should chant. And from that day forward, they did. And San Francisco became flooded. First Fisherman's Wharf, at the turnaround of the trolleys, you can still meditate and think of these devotees. Vishnu Jan Maharaj. Does anyone know the story of Vishnu Jan Maharaj? Great soul. He left us in the 70s. He sang so melodiously. Prabhupada, he was the best. Vishnu Jan Maharaj. He used to take big traveling buses with Radha Damodar deities, which are now in Gita Nagari, and you must go see them. The most extraordinarily beautiful deities. Am I right? Am I right? These are the servants of those deities right here. And so by their effulgence and beauty, you can see the mercy of those deities. You must see them. There's nothing like Radha Damodar. They're so unique. They traveled on Vishnu Jan Maharaj and Tamal Krishna Maharaj's buses. And they did kirtan here, Fisherman's Wharf, trolley, turned around a marketplace, so many different places, flooded Haight Ashbury, flooded Golden Gate Park, flooded Muir Woods, the Embarcadero, with books and with chanting the holy name. Just from Prabhupada saying, come here. Yes, this is the right thing to do. It's okay? I'm running late. I don't know how late. I guess Prasad's not. Hare Krishna. You sneaked up on me.
Mataji, there is a question that came from Zoom.
Okay. Oh, neat.
Actually, it's not a question, it's an appreciation. So this
Good.
is
Better.
from Ruby. And she writes, we were reading Prabhupada Lilamrita yesterday and reading about Malati bringing Jagannath from a store. Thank you for sharing experiences, Mataji.
It's very nice. Thank you so much. This is our first Zoom entrance. The first time someone has Zoomed in here. Isn't that sweet? We are, thanks to Grantaraj Mochi Prabhu, she has worked so hard on this. Just undying service these devotees are doing. And I think that it's very beneficial because our lineup, Lokabandhu, back to you. I can't speak anymore for quite some time because we have Malati, Urmila, Yogeshvara, Rukmini Devi, so many devotees. Amarendra Prabhu, I'm announcing, but I haven't confirmed. It's probably a surprise to him if he hears this, but he promised me he would come back personally and have class here, but also he could do online maybe once I make a formal request. So many nice devotees come and speak. Akurunath was just here not long ago. Great philosophically astute, and pristine devotees with great hearts, big hearts are coming. So it'll be a long time before I speak again, I think. We have quite a lineup, hopefully, all the way through September. Shai. There'll be more and more nectar coming, hopefully. Shai. Anyone else? Kim, did you have a question earlier? I thought I saw you. Okay. Happily married Kim and Jay. It's a very, very special couple. They got married recently in our community and had a big, wonderful a marriage ceremony. And unfortunately, I wasn't there, but I hear it was just gorgeous. And it was just brimming full of Krishna consciousness. And they even had a nice book table set up. So it's really nice. I want to give a shout out to one of our members of that comes infrequently, but very, very special. Her name is Rupa Manjari, and her sister is named Ruchira. Do you know them? Rupa Manjari. It's very special. Both of these devotees are sisters. They're disciples of Bhakti Primo Puri Maharaj, and they're extraordinary. They were tiny children when they took initiation from him. He lived to be very old, well over 100 years old. Great, great Vaishnav. He served Bhaktisiddhanta. He was his godbrother, Srila Prabhupada, is my understanding. And he actually met Bhaktivinoda Thakur when he was 7 years old. Amazing. So I'm giving a shout out to Rupa Manjari because she just had a baby. Little Chotan, his name is Nitai, and he is perfect. And there are pictures I've seen, but I didn't want to go public with the pictures without permission, but he's just adorable. She has a wonderful husband partner, and they live in, I can't remember where, but I think the East Bay. And this child just came within the last few days, maybe a week. So give them blessing, think about them. They need all the blessings possible so that they can come and share this great Vaishnav that's come into the world. Prabhupada said there are demigods standing in line to be born in this movement at this time. What does that mean? So that means, particularly for us, because we don't know who's who, to be very careful how we treat people. I'm cranky and I'm passionate, and I make a bunch of mistakes with people. And I ask deep forgiveness for that. I think by the kind examples that devotees give here, I'll do better. But anyway, Rupa Manjari just had a baby. Hari Hari Bo! Hari Hari Bo! Let's see, there were some other folks that I was going to give a call out to, but I can't remember right now. In terms of helping each other, I'd like to end with a little story, and I'm not going to, I wanted actually to let you hear it from the gentleman that I saw the story from. He's a Jewish rabbi. He had an incredible ability to express a story. But I wanted to tell this to end the class because it hit me so strongly, and I'm going to try to get it as close to his reiteration of the story as possible. He tells that there was a forensic psychologist named Jerome Motto. He worked for the San Francisco Police Department, and his job was to research what happened to people who may or may not have committed suicide by jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. This is a true story. He was a forensic scientist who had needed to find out if these folks committed suicide or if they were pushed or if they fell. You have to find out things like that. That was his job. So one night they found a jumper that he called him. They called him a jumper. So there was identification on him. They took the identification and went to his home. This was standard procedure. He had seen hundreds of these, hundreds of people with no hope who jumped from the Golden Gate Bridge as their last resort. So he went to the home or the apartment, and they're often expecting, if it was suicide, there'll be a letter, a note, they call it. So he got there and there was a note on the dresser. And he thought, yeah, a note. I've seen these notes hundreds of times. But this one shook him to the core. This is what the note said. Is everyone following the story okay? You following what's happening? Okay. He lifted up the note. He looked, it said, I am walking to the bridge now. If anyone stops me and says hello, I will turn around and go back. That was his note. No one stopped him. No one said hello. You can be that person. This gentle rabbi, I don't know his name, said, we can be that person who says hello, who makes a difference in someone's life, so much so that he turns around and goes back home instead of doing something so horrible, so sad, so lonely. That note shook him to the core, and it changed his whole sense of things. The personal touch, how much is needed. So we easily do that here. Sometimes we forget we're running and we bump each other around. But even out on the streets, I have seen homeless men, one man in particular seared in my mind. I stopped at that same stoplight where I took you in San Francisco, and he was standing there with the crutch and one arm cut off here, holding that part of his arm up. And he was asking for food with the other hand with a sign, of course. And so I had 12 seconds, stopped at the light. I had a Bhagavad Gita. That's a heavy book. It's a big book. He had one arm, a crutch, and a sign, So I gave him the book. And in my rearview mirror, I looked back. That Bhagavad Gita was underneath the little arm. And he was holding the arm and holding the thing. Holding the Bhagavad Gita under his little arm and holding his sign, still needing food. That image, so much we can do. He had the Gita there. It was the best I could do in the 12 seconds. So I hope this has made some road to connecting us a little better. And I hope that everyone can come as often as possible. Please, and bring your children. Oh, every child that's here, I have a book. I like to give the books to children. So with your parents, your mom, dad, or whatever, please come over to the book table and you can help me pick out a book for you. Okay? All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to New Jagannath Puri. Rath-yatra ki! Jagannath Dham ki! New Jagannath Puri Dham ki! Jai. All glories to the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord.
So I'd like to remind devotees that next weekend we're having Snan Yatra